Jim Urbina is one of the foremost experts in Mackenzie architecture.
Anytime you're dealing with Mackenzie, it's always, the top of the heap.
We don't want to flatten it out. We don't want to make it vanilla.
There's a lot of input from a lot of different people on that model.
I've been pinching myself the last couple of days, like here working on one of the most famous greens in the world. It's pretty cool.
They've stripped off what they refer to as the fat. They looked at pictures and lost pin positions. They've made the model and their forever template. We pick it up right before they start to dig down and do what they call coring it out. This restoration is as much about what's happening below the putting surface as what will happen on it.
So then we basically core the green down 16 inches vertically straight down into the subgrade. We establish the subgrade, which is an exact replica of the surface of the green. We then put in our 4-inch perf drain pipe. We put 4 inches of pea gravel, 12 inches of mix, and then we get it back to within 1/10 of an inch of that original model, building it from the bottom all the way back up to the top.
How does it get back so close?
Because you have someone basically with a laser pole and they have the model is downloaded into the pole and into all the equipment. So when you're putting the grades back, you're putting a pole right on it and you can tell if you're within 1/10 of an inch of that original model that we shot. And then when you get done with that, you're pretty close to where you want to be, but then that's where Jim has to come in and do his final.
I got to come back and see how all of the mechanical work that's been done, new irrigation, new drainage, new mix, and that all gets put back in here. And now I got to go 20 from 80% to 85 to 90 to 95. And then we're going to play with it again and we're going to get that last 2%. We're 80% there, but we still got 20% more to go.
So what Jim's trying to do is he's going to get on a Sand Pro with a drag mat. And basically what he wants to do is he wants to make sure that all these transitions, and the transitions at Pasatiempo are extreme. He wants to make sure they all tie in together. He wants to make sure that something doesn't look forced, that something doesn't look out of place, that the final artistic painting that basically he's putting together all blends together and all fits right. And Jim's doing that. We're talking about, tiny increments of sand that he's moving around the screen, but making sure that it all looks like 16 green should look when he's finally done. And then he's still getting off the Sand Pro, shooting grades, making sure the pin placements and the grades that we talked about originally in the original model are there, and then he's done. We're ready for the final part.
So decisions and interpretations have been made. It has been cored down and built back up. It has gone from the 80% to, say, 99% point of completion. So what's the last 1%?
Jim and I typically walk out and we walk the green, and I take a smart level and I'm basically looking at slopes and percentages on all the pin placements, and Jim and I kind of get in lockstep and we say, yeah, this is what we wanted, this was the vision, this is what we built, we're ready to go. Every pin on the green, whether it's a new pin or an old pin, we're looking at it, we're talking about it. And maybe there's something that needs to change a tiny bit here or there in that final edit. But from back to front, we go through the whole entire green.
And now the agronomist does what an agronomist has been trained to do: seed and grow grass.
I've seeded all the greens here personally, and not that I don't trust my staff. We have a fantastic staff out here, but it's just one of those things when we started this project that I wanted to take upon myself to know that I seeded all these greens myself, and there's no one else to blame if anything went wrong. Because it's interesting, you're seeding at 1 pound per 1,000 square feet. You're seeding the Prestige blend from Tea to Green, which is 50% pure distinction, 50% pure select bent grass. So you need to be very accurate on your seeding. And so I go with a drop spreader, I seed it 2 directions, we rake it 2 directions, and then you turn on the water and you start growing it in. And for the first 21 days before that first mow, because we mow the green at 21 days, it's every 2 or 3 hours, every single day, all day long, there is a person standing on that green, watching the water, watering it, making sure nothing's running out, and make sure we're not getting any washouts, and basically just babying it for 3 straight weeks. Raising a baby, yeah.
As the new but old 16th green is growing in, Urbina compares a restoration to a musician and a cover song.
I would say when you take a hole like the 16th of Pasatiempo, if it was a new build, it's just my creativity with the shaper. It's a musician just riffing on a new song. But if you're making a cover, like some artists do when they do a cover of another artist, now they've been held to a different standard, because now the standard is, well, it doesn't sound like the original. Well, was it supposed to sound like the original? But in the case of this genre, this artistry, it better be pretty damn close to the original. And that's the tough part of restoration work, is because I'm kind of doing a cover of a song, and I'm always going to be judged how well I did the cover. And the sad thing about it is that people who like the original artist will always think the original artist is the best. And that Jim Urbina and the guys that he got together to do the work, they're just creating, you know, a copy. And it can't be the same as the original. But that's the pressure that I've enjoyed, and that's the pressure that Brett and Justin and Tyson and the crew has enjoyed, that we get close to the cover song. And maybe that someday you'll accept it was just as good as the cover song. And that's the pressure of doing restoration.
You're definitely feeling a lot of nerves, because even though every green at Pasatiempo is extremely important, not just for Pasatiempo, but just for golf architecture, but the 16th green is the green, right? It's the green that everyone wants to come out, take a picture in front of. They want to play it, they want to see it, they want to feel it. So there is definitely a lot more pressure on the 16th green. It also has some of the most severe undulation of any green. We're talking 11, 12 feet of fall from back to front with 3 distinct tiers. And a front tier that wasn't even pinnable prior to this restoration that now is a whole pinnable tier. So we're looking at the pictures from 29, we're looking at the new punch bowl that we put back in the back of the green that had been taken out. So all these original architectural features that Mackenzie had in there that were lost or removed over time, now you're sitting there looking at it and say, this is what it was supposed to be. I mean, we're 95% there, and we'll be 100% there by the time we open. It hasn't been easy. There's been a lot of hurdles, but we did it. We're gonna be open on December 6th, and I think everyone is gonna be extremely excited to come out and see the work that's been done.
And on December 5th, 2024, 599 days after Pasatiempo membership gathered for a barbecue and closed the front 9 for the first half of the restoration, they gathered again to reopen the back 9. It was Phil Kuhlman, first assistant on Mandon's crew, who had the honor of cutting the first pin on the restored 16th green. Meanwhile, back on the first tee, the club had recreated opening day of Pasatiempo in 1929. What was then Cyril Tolley, Marion Hollins, Bobby Jones, and Glenna Collette was now Roger Maltbie, Kay Cockrell, Aaron Oberholser, and Julie Inkster, all who have had a long relationship with the course and community. Mandon cut the ribbon, and Jim Urbina was on hand to walk along and watch the golf. And after the foursome hit their approach shots to the 16th green, the players and assembled members paused to hear more about what had been done on and below the iconic putting surface.
Now today, it does what the green is supposed to do. And we dug a hole here, and we dug a hole there, and we dug a hole up there, and we could see the profile of the sand changing.
Safe to say, Oberholser, who won the Western Intercollegiate at Pasatiempo in 1996, was impressed.
I walked up to 16, I'm like, you have a front hole location now? And then Jim making that little kind of hump on the second tier to where before there was no chance. If I could throw a knuckleball into the second tier up high, it'd stick there in the wintertime when we were playing here at San Jose State. It would roll all the way down to the front. You couldn't do it. You had to throw the most perfect flighted spun shot perfectly on that, land it on the tier, spin it up about halfway, and then it'd come back down. Otherwise, everything was off the front of that green and you were happy to make a 5. Now you've got hole locations all over that. He kind of restored the punch bowl look in the back. So it's not gonna bounce into that lady's backyard. Like, I can't tell you how many times we hit at Oscar Bravo, just taking one more club, wind dies, and whoop, but you hit a downslope and it shoots right onto their dinner plate.
And Roger Maltbie, who also attended San Jose State and finished second in the Western Intercollegiate at Pasatiempo, had a similar sentiment.
Well, any time a golf course is ostensibly being restored with maybe slight renovation, the word renovation scares me because sometimes they don't always come out as you might have hoped. So that was my thought about today in advance. And, you know, I can report now after playing it, still Pasatiempo.
A few weeks later, after shareholders and the public had some time to play all 18 restored greens, Urbina and Mandon returned to the middle of the 16th fairway, where they had spent so much time looking and assessing their options and then their artistry.
We did the right thing. We did the right thing. We did what we had to do to make sure that this place is sustainable for the next 50 years, because it wasn't sustainable. And I think we not only did the right thing from a sustainability standpoint, but Jim did the right thing artistically to bring these greens back to what they're supposed to be, which is they're still Pasatiempo greens. If you're above the pin, you're still gonna struggle at Pasatiempo. And I think that's what's really important is we not only did the right thing from a sustainability standpoint, but from an architectural standpoint, I think Jim hit it out of the park.
I'm happy that we were successful. This is a golf course that Mackenzie died on. It's not just another afterthought of a golf course of the 90 or 100 he did. He died here, and he lived here, and he dreamed here, and he all of his life ended right here. So you have to be a little bit guarded because of what the story of Pasatiempo is about and what it tells about Marion Hollins, a World Golf Hall of Famer, and Alistair Mackenzie. You have to be guarded. I apologize for that, but you have to be guarded.
Right now, I wouldn't do anything different, but I think that takes time. But standing here right now on the 16th hole, I can't think of anything I'd change.
Same with me. It's euphoria. It's seeing something come back to what it was. And so there's that adrenaline rush of cool, we did it, success.